Story 1. I've noticed many items are lower in quality, but the price is the same or more expensive. For example, I wanted to replace a very specific purse from a known brand with the exact same one I had purchased 5 years ago. I bought the exact same model for roughly the same price, and what a disappointment it is now. All the hardware was super flimsy and cheap. Hello companies, we see what you are doing. I would rather pay a little more to get better quality, but you aren't giving me the option. So now I will go buy some other brand that actually is quality. Story 2. I have lived in Georgia, Michigan, Ohio, and now Kansas, and I can say without qualification that Cox Communications is by far the worst internet service provider I have ever dealt with. The internet regularly goes down multiple times a day. I even got a remote-activated power switch so I can power cycle my router without having to get up. Story 3. Anything that is marketed as gaming chairs, gaming keyboards, gaming headsets, etc. Most of the time, they are both expensive and of terrible quality, while many alternatives are the opposite. Story 4. Eyeglasses, specifically those made by Luxottica, are high-priced frames that are superficially branded and marked up as much as the general market will bear. Frames that cost dollars or less than $1 to make are sold for hundreds. It's an oppressive monopoly with too much market power in the hands of one large international corporation. Story 5. Epic Systems is a software package that runs hospitals. For a mid-sized hospital, it runs around $50 million plus $10 million a year for support. It's so awesome that it has to be shut down during daylight saving time changes because it can't handle it. It also won't communicate with non-epic electronic medical records, which is mostly done by fax. I guess on the positive side, it is woman-owned, and Judith Faulkner is a self-made billionaire. Her employees call her mom. While we are on hospital prices, a basic hospital bed starts at $25,000 and quickly goes up from there. And meanwhile, we wonder why healthcare prices are so high. Story 6. General Motors vehicles, United States health insurance, excluding United States doctors, United States education, excluding United States teachers. Perhaps not most, but many luxury brands of clothing, handbags, eyewear, likely most. Starbucks, Netflix. Many of these examples were not always of low quality, but have become of lower quality over time. Story 7. Most new recreational vehicles make Boeing products look like NASA-built space shuttles. So many loose bolts, poorly applied sealant, faulty wiring, unsecured suspension, and brake systems. If you are in the market for an RV, absolutely get it inspected before you buy. If the place will not let you, you do not want to buy from them. It doesn't matter if it's a $50,000 one or a $250,000 one. They all need a thorough look over. Story 8. Health insurance. They will do everything in their power to take advantage of you and push you into bankruptcy for the crime of getting sick. Story 9. Everything low quality is expensive in the long run. The reason that the rich were so rich, Vim's reasoned, was... Story 10. I'm going back 20 years here, so things could well have changed. But for Apple products, I used to be a salesman for PC World in the United Kingdom. 50% of the iPods we sold came back broken within 30 days. Rarely any sign of damage or misuse. They just stopped working. I asked to be moved off sales because I just couldn't stand people looking over at me when they came back to return them. Story 11. Modern refrigerators come with countless features and often break in less than 10 years. Yet you can't find even a basic unit for less than $1,200. Meanwhile, almost anything made before the mid-1990s will be cooling your food long after you're gone. What incredible item am I hoping to acquire as my parents prepare to downsize? I mean, sure, the pool table would be wonderful, but I would absolutely love to have their 1970s vintage deep freezer. Story 12, me. My house bills, exams, toddler, and so on, and I pay for it all. Yet, I look like a crunchy old crisp packet from 2001. Story 13. I don't know about in general, but my wife just bought 3 strands of LED lights for our back deck. None of them work. On 2 of the strands, the control for dimming and control from an app doesn't work, and on the 3rd, the strand doesn't work. They were just under $100 for 3 strands of light bulbs that might get used 20 times this summer. Can't get any of them back into their original packaging. This is so frustrating. Story 14. Anything related to Beats Audio. Their laptop speaker thing is abysmal and ruins music, and their headphones are cheap, bass-heavy crap that distorts music. Story 15, groceries. It is hard to find produce that is not borderline decomposing these days, but it costs 4 to 5 times what it did a few years ago. Story 16, me. For something that lives on peanut butter and jelly, Dr. Pepper, and cheese crackers, I sure am expensive to keep alive. And your return on investment isn't good in the slightest. Story 17, anything from Good American. I have several pieces, and each one has either ripped, pilled, or faded within 2 wears. Story 18, modern-day furniture costs the same, if not more, than vintage solid wood pieces would have originally, but are instead made of particle board, medium-density fiberboard, and other resins, composites, and veneers. It doesn't last nearly as long either. Story 19, Las Vegas. Most of the things there are absurdly overpriced. The bottle service experience is silly. Many restaurants have time limits, and overall, it's not glitzy and glamorous, just low-quality nonsense. If you're super wealthy and can effortlessly afford the best accommodations and treatment, that's one thing. Outside of that, it's just a lame race of overspending, drunk peer pressure, and taking risks most people can't afford to. Story 20, McDonald's. I DoorDashed there recently. It's $10 for a Big Mac meal with those 2 pathetic little patties on an oversized double bun. I've heard McDonald's is cheaper on the app, but that upfront price is downright insulting. Story 21, mostly everything. My wife told me that she bought the same model of bra from the same middle-high brand 4 years ago, and now the model is the same, it seems to be the same, but the fabric quality and material is way worse in the new one. A famous European TV and hi-fi maker has stopped making its own products and has become an outlet for overpriced Chinese products in the last 10 years or so. Once I could buy Chinese electronic components from AliExpress or decent quality ones from local stores. Now, local stores sell the same Chinese products for the price of the decent ones. Story 22, frames for eyeglasses. How can they justify charging hundreds of dollars for about half an ounce of molded plastic, miniature hinges, and screws? Story 23, bot-made posts, which often look a lot like this, are cheap to make but ultimately will be the death of Reddit. Story 24, Gillette razor cartridges. I've probably saved a 4-figure amount over the years by switching to an open razor. Story 25, professional grade ranges are being installed in houses during remodels. These include the extra-wide 6-burner stoves by companies like Wolf. Quality-wise, they are a little below your standard cooking appliance from Home Depot, and they cost about 5 times as much. People snap them up when they are remodeling because it's trendy. You're just cooking frozen pizza, guys. Story 26. I don't know if this counts, but to get into New York City via tunnel, you pay $18. $18 just to get into a city where everything is crazy expensive, and where parking is like $50. Estimated time of arrival. It's not like they improved the tunnel or even updated it. Story 27. Fast food is what comes to mind for me. Going out to any of the fast food chains is just as expensive as a casual sit-down place anymore, and the quality is far lower.